You handle a client without raising a single voice. You absorb a deal without feeling through, without breaking composure. You manage your team problems, your investors, your questions, your vendor delays, all of it very calmly. Then you go home. Your partner asks you what time you want to eat. And something in your chest snaps. The tone comes out. The shortness. Maybe the explosion over nothing. And then the worst part, the guilt. Because the person who got the worst version of you today is the person who did the least to deserve it. And if this is your pattern, stay with me for 8 more minutes because what is actually happening is not what you think. And the usual fix, try to be more patient at home, makes it even worse because you're just building it even more frustration, not making it better. You're not calm, you are contained at the moment. Here is the first reframe, and it changes everything about how you see this pattern. You are not calm during the days, you are contained in that phase. There is a difference. Calm is when the pressure genuinely drops, not lands, when a system processes difficult movements and returns to baseline. Containment is where the pressure is lands fully and you suppress the response because the situation demands it. The client frustrates you, you feel the heat rise and you swallow it. Professionals, the deal collapses, the fear fires, and you hold your face steady, composed. The team members makes the same mistake again, the irritation spikes, you respond with measured patience. Every one of those moments, your body produced a real response, real activation, real emotional energy, and in every one you suppressed it because expressing it would have been inappropriate, unprofessional, or costly. Suppressed does not mean gone, suppressed means stored. By 6 in the evening, you are carrying 8, 10, 12 hours of stored unprocessed activation. The container is full, and now you're walking through your front door with it. Now, here's the cruel mechanics of why home gets explosion. Your nervous system has a rule, it only releases where it feels safe. At work, your system reads the environment as performance, territory, consequences for losing composure, status at stake, money at stake. So the containment protocol stays active, the lid stays on. At home, with your partner, your kids, your family, your system, read safely. These people will not fire you, will not pull the deal, will not judge your professionalism. The threat assessment drops automatically, and the moment the assessment drops, the containment protocol releases altogether. All the stored activation from the entire day starts looking for an exit. Bam, and it's out there. There is no stoppage, there's no limitation involved anymore because your container is already full. Your partner's innocent question is not the cause, it is the trigger, the doorway, the first available opening for 12 hours of suppressed pressure to escape through. It's like a pressure cooker at that point, without the option of lifting the lid. And when it is going to lift up, of course, it is going to blast. And this is why the explosion is always disappropriate to the moment, because it was never about the moment in the first place. The moment was just the exit point for everything that came before it. And this is also the painful irony. Your family gets your worst precisely because they are your safest. The explosion is, in a twisted way, a measure of trust. Your system would never release like that anywhere it felt unsafe before or doesn't have that safe feeling associated to it. But knowing that does not make it okay because they are still absorbing pressure. that was never theirs. And the loop goes on and on and on, and this frustration goes to them. They have their own frustration that goes carry forwards to kids, maybe they have their own frustration carry forwards to studies, and the loop cycle and the hatred towards, and it's an endless loop of things. And the standard advice for this pattern is be more patient at home, take a breath before you walk in, leave work at home. Here is why it feels. Most patience at home is just more containment. You are adding a second lid on top of the first lid. Now you are suppressing at work and suppressing at home. The container gets bigger, not by dimension, but just the lid expanding because that so much pressure build up. The pressure keeps building and building and building, and eventually will release, because there is always an eventual release, get bigger too. Or worse, it stops coming out as anger and starts coming out as distance, resentment, numbness, the slow withdrawal from the people you love, because being around them requires managing a container that is always full. And the real fix is not managing the container better, it is putting less in it, which means dealing with the activation during the day itself in small ways as it happens. Instead of storing all of it for later and then trying to control it, a best practice would be make sure that it doesn't fill up in the first place. And a few practical things that actually work. Between meetings, 60 seconds, notice what was the last interaction left in your body. The tightness, the heat, the constructiveness, the do not analyze this, just acknowledge it, let your breath reach it. That small act of processing prevents storing automatically. Even a simple breath work for after that particular conversation helps you connect your awareness, and that awareness in turn regulate the charge in its own self. After that also there is some kind of formulation, you know why is that coming and where it is coming from, so you can address it in a much more better way and address it then and there itself as well. Luckily, we are designed that manner. But because of this fast pace, next thing after next thing after next thing, okay, pile it up, release it someone else. In the car, before walking in, do not just sit there scrolling, scan the day. Where's the residue sitting? Chest, jaw, stomach. Give it 2 minutes of direct attention. You are emptying part of the container before you walk through the door. And most of us is so occupied with if not work, we are just scrolling, we are doing this, we are doing that, because get cheap dopamine hit back to back, back to back, back to back, instead of connecting to ourselves. And the deeper work, understanding why a system contains so much in the first place, because some people process pressure as it comes and others store everything. The difference is not personality, it is a pattern, usually an old one, and it can be changed at the root cause itself, because this also involves multiple things. One of the main things will be a trigger point, where the trigger is rising from that makes that situation hurt you and go and fill inside that container as one of the energy occupying space is needed to be addressed, or else it's just going to keep on repeating. You will think you have suppressed it, it will be piling up in the container the next morning. You never know. The key is to understand the awareness, the you, connect to yourself. The people you love should not be receiving pressure that belongs to your work day, and you should not have to live in the guilt cycle of snapping and apologizing and snapping again, because they will see that this is just a pattern and the apology meant nothing. The pattern is fixable not through some patience, through dealing with what you're containing during the day and at the deeper level where the containment habit was formed. The free video explains the full picture, where these patterns come from and what actually shifts them in the first place. Watch it and see if it makes sense for your situation. The link is in the description. Subscribe, and I'll see you on Tuesday.